Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here to review Convoy. Funny connection that I have this film is to, of course, to have been brought to me by a episode of Family Guy years ago. I had gone on to watch an episode of Family Guy that had the Convoy song on it, and I was like, okay, why is this song to be done in this bit of episode? And then I'd kind of do Google and research and what have you, and find, oh, Family Guy Convoy movie. Okay, cool. So didn't think of anything of it, and then time passed. So for some strange reason, my mom, would go on and be like, "Hey, have you watched Convoy yet? Are you watching? Have you watched?" And I'm like, "Why watch this movie? Why all of a sudden go on and want to check out this film?" But as I would go on and as I would watch Convoy, I would really go on and see the benefit of it. Like, I would start to see that this movie could be tied into so many other things. And I did enjoy it because of that. But I probably did also realize that this movie focuses so much more so on the journey than the story to get there. That it has very simplistic goals, and most of this movie is just carried on the fact that this is a trucker movie, and you're going to be seeing a lot of driving within that. So, but Convoy, like, I'd gone on to eventually, like, there's going to be at one point where I'm just going to get to a point in this review where I just drop a bunch of movies that I've gone on to see that I could tie this movie into, but at first I'm going to go on and actually explain what this movie is about, so that way it helps people want to go on and either watch this film or decide whether or not that they want to invest in a movie like this, because kind of really for this movie it is an investment, I feel. So, and maybe people have gone on and seen this at some point in their lives and what have you, and enjoy it and love it and whatever. Maybe people just love road trips and that's just them, and I can understand that. So, anyways, let's go on and let's talk about Convoy. So, we have this group of these three truckers: Spider Mike, Love Machine or Pigpen, the name kind of waffles, and then we'd have Duck or Rubber Duck. So, handles on their CBs. So we'd have these guys that all go on and they're truckers, and they find out they're like, hey, we can kind of drive as hard as we want, because if anything, there's going to be no cops nearby. And then all of a sudden, they'd come to find it that they're to be shaken down by Papa Bear, who's to kind of take advantage of them because he knows their lingo. So the three trucks end up getting shaken down by Papa Bear, who's played by Ernest Borgnine, who's to be the sheriff. And because these guys are to go on and get slighted by Papa Bear, they end up getting upset by him, and they end up just kind of through the CB, they start making fun of him. They start going on and talk about his walk and everything like that, getting out of his car. So while that's going on in this diner, we have Duck that is going on and unwrapping his birthday present, which is a woman that is in his truck. Duck is going on and seemingly lip locking with this woman that it's just seemed to be very rare that he's to, I guess, make this bit of time with her. It seems that this woman is to kind of have her own other relationship, because there's this whole talk about like, hey, you're old man, so maybe she's to already be with somebody. But if anything, Duck goes on and is to be intimate with this woman within this truck, and then has to be pulled away because there's going to be this diner that explodes soon, and with all this fighting going on, this huge brawl. So the interesting thing about this movie is Duck kind of takes everything on himself. Like, it seems that this movie tries as much as possible to focal point on Duck, when really this is a movie about a bunch of trucks all lumped together because Convoy. But again, like, Duck seems to just be weirdly being the focus point for how it feels that he has to go on, and if anything happens to his friends, he feels like, oh, I'm responsible. It is my burden to bear that this person was to have been beaten because of me. When Duck was to go on and be unwrapping his present while this whole diner fight was even really going on. Like, he was to go on and just kind of catch it after the fact. But for some reason, he is to feel completely responsible for it all. So I guess because in this pack, I guess he's to really just be the leader. So because he's to always have people be following him. So after this whole diner fight, excuse me, and they make their way outside of this diner, they all decide that they're going to make it to the state line because no cops are going to be after them then. So the further this goes along, and police cars start chasing after the trucks, and they figure out a way to outmaneuver them by going into these horribly dirt roads that these normal cop cars can't drive through, and they figure out tactics to squeeze um, these cops away from them, and they outsmart them. So, which I thought was really clever. I like that aspect of this movie. It's just kind of just clever. So they try to make it to the state line, and these other trucks start finding out what these guys are doing, and so they just want to connect with these guys and be like, hey, can we just follow you guys, because like, man, like, this is just kind of fun. So Duck is just like, okay, sure, like, do whatever you want to do. Like, it kind of becomes like the whole Forrest Gump thing of like, well, hey, Forrest Gump, why are you running? He's like, I just like running, and I just want to running, or I just like running. Anyways, so it becomes as simple as that. Like, there's no thought. Like, we have this reporter that thrusts a microphone, like, or hey, why are you going on and doing this? Is it a protest? Is it this or that? And he's just like, no, like, we all just have to go somewhere, and here's where we are. So I could go on and I could start to look at this movie like I can look at stuff like Billie Jean. The movie where we come to find the girl gets taken advantage of in the early parts of the movie, and she goes on this like whole road trip, and she circles back around to face off against her abuser or whatever, and finds out that he's making money off of her, and man, just the way that impactfully all ends, and how it like full circles, and I just really can I could really enjoy it. But you can check out my review to really get the full thoughts about it. I can go on and I can see that here. Like, we find that this movie is really just an injustice that these truckers have been taken advantage of for way too long from these police officers that would go on and kind of just shake them down for money, and it's just getting to a point now where they've just had enough. And so I'd also go on and let's get into the other films. So there is obviously like the Patrick Swayze Black Dog film that I'm sure no one has heard of, or no one really probably is to care about, but like, I can throw that in here. Uh Maximum Overdrive, with the way that there is just an impactful like truck crashing through housing scenes and stuff like that, that is to be very similar to, of course, this movie and its third act, but also uh like just big impactful truck scenes. Uh, I throw in like Keanu's Speed, Cans. It was just Cans, yeah. So like when I was going on and when I was seeing like all of the like chase stuff, when I was going on and when I was seeing like the reporter just be driving alongside this truck, like immediately just stuff about that just felt like so much like Speed to me. There's also a Charlie Sheen movie where he's with a woman that I think he kidnaps, and then eventually they have this like intimate scene together while Charlie Sheen is still driving. I never remember what that movie is called, or I never bother to look it up before I do these reviews. But I always probably tie that movie in somewhere of the memory of that film. But I, for the life of me, don't remember what that title is. But I don't really think anyone would care, anyways. Uh, Other than that, yeah, like I think we can throw in stuff like Joyride and Duel, which is more of like suspense things. But if anything, kind of Joyride kind of feels like a mistake that has just taken way too long or kind of gone way too far. Um, and probably Duel can go on and kind of feel that same way, a same kind of story where like it's just the guy that just goes on the wrong side of road someday and this truck is just on him like nobody's business. So or even stuff like Blues Brothers where they have that whole chase that eventually leads to this kind of just piles and piles of these cop cars and at some point this certain army, let's just say, that has some certain kind of armbands and whatever kind of chasing after the Blues Brothers at some point in that movie. Uh, Trying to not to say something that would probably get me demonetized, but if anything, yeah, like because we have a group that has a name that starts with an N on it. Uh, Trying to avoid it because I know if eventually I say it, it'll demonetized. Or not exactly. Like if you say it enough, weirdly, I don't know what that is. I don't know why that is. It feels like you can't really say anything anymore on YouTube, or you have to question whether or not you could say it because stupid. Anyways, so Convoy. Oh, I Smokey and the Bandit. I don't feel that I've 100% sat down and watched Smokey and the Bandit. At some point, I should. I feel that a lot of people be like, "How have you not committed to seeing Smokey?" There are so many movies that I know it exists, but I haven't completely committed into watching something all the time. That have been like kind of go to classic films that will probably be like, oh yeah, this is the movie that started it all. There are so many times where I probably have not gone on to see the movie that started it all because really at this point, like I've seen so many freaking other things in my time. But anyways, so now I'm finally getting a Convoy, and I enjoyed it for the most part. Like I could say that Convoy is just kind of fun. Uh, like to me, this can go on and just kind of remind me of like when you're a kid and you're having these little Hot Wheel cars and you're playing with them and you're just smashing and like this is fun. Like I'm playing around with these cars. You're not really thinking of it. Um, like something as simple as that could be like this movie where you can just enjoy uh just the simplicity of this film and take that out of it. Uh but yeah, so I'll say that this movie was fun. I think that should be my overall grading. That's still thumbs up it by the end. I didn't have an overwhelmingly strong feeling about it, so fun was just good enough. Like I wasn't thinking uh anything beyond just that like a lot of people could probably say this movie is slow or long-winded and that what really hurts it the most. Um and people could go on and hate this movie or people could probably absolutely love road trip movies and like this could be just one of their top favorite films because people just like road trip movies and I can completely understand that. I was trying to think if there's any other like road trip movies that I would connect this to, and I'm sure there's overwhelmingly some people like, oh yeah, like and they'll rattle off all these things. I'm like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that? Because I'd seen that at some point in my past. But anyways, with that said, I think it's about that time to just push into full on spoilers and going in to this movie scene for scene, blow for blow. Because you know I like to go on a way too detailed and go through every bit of this film, even though people won't care. People will probably have clicked off 10 seconds after you clicked into this, and that's completely fine. Because you know what? I just like to have fun. I like to do these things because I feel they're fun to me. Um, and just the experience of them. Like, I probably should be taking this a lot more seriously, obviously. But um, because I've made so many like things where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna commit to this, and then like it just we're doing Convoy. It feels very ADD. It feels very random. Um, it doesn't make sense why I'm covering this film, probably to a good number of people, because like, what the is this? Because they've never heard of it in their life. But for me, I just weirdly feel at some points that the stuff that I'm doing to me makes sense to do. It just does. And whether that is to lead to a donut hole's worth of view or if it leads to 50,000 plus views and counting to this time period in one video, which I'm so happy about. Um, because at least like at least if like I'm just doing horrible, like I can still look still at that one video and just be like, like like I feel like I've done something with my life. Regardless what could go on within the entire channel, I could look at that one video and just be so happy that it exists. Um and just um feel good about what I have completely done on this channel. Within just kind of looking back on just like, hey, yeah, like hey, this movie that I did once is kind of just gaining gaining attention, gaining people randomly. Like I'd go on to find like a movie that I did so long ago, uh The Ugly Truth. Like one person just commented on it, I'm like, well, like great. Um like I hope somebody found just that movie to be interesting and found other pieces uh to kind of hang on to and what have you. I don't know. But anyways, uh but it's always just so fascinating just the stuff that people eventually that I did at some point that people find just randomly. Um and then me redo the thumbnail and adjust the thing is like, yeah, that thumbnail looks like shit. Like, yeah, uh like that whatever that I did was so early in my YouTubing thing. Like, yeah, like I can probably think that the background in it wasn't that good, or I can think that the image that I used in the thing wasn't that good, or I can think that like everything that I said there was just like, man, I was probably half awake during that video or something. Um, but at least I'm awake now and I can go on and apologize for it after the fact. But yeah, but that's the whole thing with doing a channel like this. It's just endlessly trying to do videos, and it recently gotten to a point where like I had kind of the equivalent of writer's block. Like I had so many choices, but like I couldn't narrow down like what to freaking do that day. Um, like it got to the point where I had like 10 choices in like one day, where it's just like, okay, should I do a new release? Should I do project that I've been holding off and I'm still procrastinating on? Um, should I finally effing get to the stuff that a number of people probably did vote on, and I'm still just like not getting to it? And I'm just putting up this random bullshit that people are like, "What the is this?" I didn't ask for this. I get it. Um, but hopefully, maybe at some point I'll find something that'll hit just right. So, with that said, it's about that time to go on and make our way into just going on and getting into spoilers. So it's about that time yet again. It is spoiler time. Spoiler time. It's about that time to get a spoil movie. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite just kind of truck film. What is to be your favorite kind of road trip movie? What is to be your favorite film that is to be somehow ballparkingly something that I said here may have just gone on like, yeah, I liked so and so movie. I've seen the Black Dogs Patrick Swayze film. Like I know that Charlie Sheen movie that you're talking about, and I know the title of it because why couldn't you have gone on and done the due diligence way ahead of time to have gone on and known that title? Yeah, because there's some stuff where I'm honestly going on and I'm doing this off the cuff. Um, Plus, also, there's just so much stuff that I just cram into these videos. That I'm just like, you know what? I would have probably have gone on in the past and be like, yeah, this exact title of this movie and whatever. I'm more so trying to relax and just kind of let things go. Um, because really, like, if I don't, like, it'll just drive me crazy. It'll help me just, it'll just not have me sleep at night. Um, it'll just make me want to go back over the video to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about this one little thing and have to do it all over again because I've done that in the past. So, with that said, let's go into the pausing of here and get to the point of start of the video or start of the movie. So I'll go on and I will recount what it all is to have been done within this film. Thank you for watching this because you may have gone on and jumped off already, which is perfectly fine because at the end of the day, hopefully it's a view. Hopefully it's a view. Hopefully you decide to subscribe after the fact, because eventually I'm doing way wild pitches of things to review on this channel more so than everyone else. A lot of people will be baffled and confused why I'm going on reviewing the things that I'm doing. Some people may go on like, oh no, man, I really enjoy all these things that you're reviewing because it's way different than everyone else. Um, but also, like, I'm not a beautiful or unique snowflake. I hate to like, like I don't even feel that I'm good at what I do. Um, but if anything, like for every bit of reasoning of wanting to just always continue to keep doing this is just because of like what is to always be the thing of filling my day is just like, well, I want to see a movie. I want to see another film. I want to see another project that I've never seen. And it's always to go on and be like, well, hey, I saw this thing. Like now I have this whole thing of doing a video on it. So I'm like, it sounds like fun. Like it sounds challenging. It sounds like fun. So that's all it is. So thank you for watching this. I appreciate it. Um, Hopefully you're go on and find and share this movie um, with yourself or whoever. Um, don't share my video. Like I'm not telling people to like or share or comment or subscribe or whatever. Um, Plus, also, I'm not calling you a subscriber, you're an actual person. That's the thing I hate about all the other YouTubers, that I feel that they're doing that wrong. Because to everyone else, you're a subscriber, you're a number, you're a this, you're a that. Like, I say that you're actual human being and you're a person. Because again, it's what everyone else is getting wrong. Um, but if anything, um, and that'll probably hurt my growth. I'm doing this for fun, everybody. I'm doing this for fun. I hope you have fun. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful evening. So, let's pause this here. Let's get to, because I've been already prattling off for 25 minutes. Heaven forbid I have a long video. So, that's it. Let's pause here. All right. So, when we come to this movie, there's going to be some characters that I'm not exactly going to know the name of. And they're going to be like the kind of the truckers that start to gather with Duck and Love Machine and and inevitably Spider Mike. There's gonna be characters like Big Nasty. There's gonna be characters like Puck. There's gonna be like smaller characters like even Melissa who go on and are to be with Duck through this whole journey, and she's to be this girl is going on and is to have supposedly to be this photographer at this whole wedding thing, and like that all kind of gets a huge thrown of the wrench because of what is going on now. Like, so much about Convoy also feels like the vampire movie Forsaken. A real stretch here. But a lot of that is also just kind of very much like a road trip film that has vampires in it. So yeah, like there's so much that I can kind of compare and throw in here and just have fun with. So let's have fun with this movie. So the beginning of it starts off with Duck, who's driving along here, and then all of a sudden we have Melissa in her car, and she's trying to go on and she's trying to pass. She's trying to pass. Of course, Duck here, and Duck goes on and then tries to pass her, and like all of a sudden, like Duck like drives alongside her, and there's a bit of her going on, and Melissa goes on to take a picture of him, and Duck is just having fun, like ha ha ha, yeah, hoo-ah. So the two of these characters get obviously very distracted. Duck supposedly is to have looked at Melissa and is to have seen like basically her nethers, but if anything, we obviously see in the movie that we don't see any crotch shot or anything like that in the film. So at some point, what Duck says doesn't quite make sense when eventually he talks to the police officer, but I think he's just saying that story for a reason. So that way he can get this guy's attention elsewhere. So, but let's get to this point here. So, this cop goes on to notice that these two are just hogging up the road. He swerves away from them, and that's where, woo, the guy goes on and pulls Duck over. Melissa goes on and stops her car and just starts taking pictures. So the officer goes on to give Duck his ticket, and the ticket ends up being almost like $100. So Duck is like, well, hey, yeah, it was worth it. that girl over there, like in her car, yeah, she was flashing me. Like I had gone on and noticed that she wasn't wearing any pants. So I just got distracted by this woman. And the cop was like, wait a minute, no pants? Huh? So the cop goes on to tell Duck, hey, I'll let you off with a warning, but I'll chase off against this girl, because of course he's gonna go on and try to to chase after this girl. So Duck gets away with it. He's like, ha ha ha, like I outsmarted this guy. When Duck meets up with Melissa, Melissa goes on and outsmarts the guy also, saying that she's going to meet with him with a hotel, but then she comes up with a reason for, oh yeah, hey, yeah, my car broke down. Sure did. So Duck starts to meet up with Love Machine and Spider Mike. And Spider Mike is complaining to Love Machine about how his truck stinks because it's full of pigs. So he's like, "Hey man, like for the trip we're going to rename you Pigpen cuz man that smell like and I'm behind you the whole time." And so it's a lot of jokes here going on about that. Um Love Machine is like, well, hey, I worked really hard to get that Love Machine name. It's like, well, sorry, but you're gonna be renamed Pigpen because of what you have in your trailer. So the ride goes for a little long here, and we have on the CB radio or the radio, we have a guy named Cottonmouth that goes on to tell the guys, yeah, like go on and and be able to just kind of drive as much as you want. Yeah, go on, and there's no cops in sight. So the guys all start driving like, all right, we can make up some time. So they start pedal to metal, and we then have Cottonmouth, who's actually Papa Bear, who has his speed gun out and clocks them at like 74, 75. I think it's 75. So the guys go, yeah, I guess it's 74. So the guys realize, like, oh, yeah, he spotted us at Papa Bear. So Papa Bear and Duck seem to have had some history that these guys aren't familiar with. So Duck is up to the routine of like, hey, I know who this guy is. He's here to shake us down. And Papa Bear is like, well, yeah, like, you know what? I'll go on and I'll let you guys slide if you give me $70 each of you. Because if anything, if you don't, then I'm gonna write you up this ticket. You're gonna have to go on and pay like what, like another $100. So hey, I'll bargain for 70. So they all cough up the $70 and they make their way to this diner. And so Duck goes on and calls this diner ahead and calls this waitress, who I believe is Thelma, and says ahead of time, hey, yeah, tell Violet I'm coming. So Violet is with a girl named Widow Woman, or I'll just call her Widow for the sake of just quickly. This is her nickname in the movie, anyways. Violet and Widow are at this table with Melissa. Melissa's going on and hawking all her wares. It seems that Melissa is just on the road. Like, she doesn't really, she's just going to this wedding, being this photographer. It seems that she doesn't have anything tied to her. Like, she goes on and talks about how uh, she was to have a boyfriend at some point that did hang gliding and it didn't work out because she hated it. And at some point, eventually, it transitioned into hating the guy she was with. So that kind of ended that story. But it seems that Melissa is very interested in this duck guy. It seems that everything is going to just strangely work out there. So, as Melissa is just kind of hawking her wares and kind of getting to the point of like dollars and cents, where it's like, okay, $3 in a salad, and then like all this other stuff. So, there's a mechanic that tells Melissa uh, about the fee for her car, and is haggling for that. So now we cut to Duck making his way to the diner, spots the car. Hey, that looks familiar. So Duck makes his way to the table, finds Violet next to Melissa. Uh, Violet and Duck kiss. Uh, Duck goes on and asks how Widow is. Like, I really like how, like, the best thing about like a road tripping kind of story is it kind of feels like everybody knows you. I absolutely love that kind of thing. It shouldn't be that all these random people know who this guy is, but they just know him. Like, that's what I love about these road trip things is like, okay, like, where's the story of here of how all these people met? And like it just kind of gets all washed away because this is a person who is to have been a guy who is to road trip so often that he knows all the spots, he knows all the usual sites, and he probably goes to these places over and over again. Um, it's kind of eventually like the guys that would come to my retail stores and be coming from obviously like Chicago or something, and I'd always kind of see the same guys over and over again. So like, oh yeah, that's the guy that's kind of the a-hole, or that's the guy that's um, to always kind of be a little bit confused about what he should be doing, and because he's new to this, and um, or like, okay, this is this guy, or the guy that tries to dump off the trailer in the wrong slot every time when, like we explain to them every time, it's the same spot every single time. Um, it happens like that very often. Not to say anything. I probably just stuff like that happens. That's my only real interactions from guys that are on semi trucks. Like, not to say that their job isn't super difficult because it is. Um, but I'm just saying my only interactions with these guys, which were like, I never really had much. I would have much rapport with like the UPS guys than I would the actual semi truck guys. But anyways, so why do I need to say all this? Because retail life. Anyways, so Violet's going on and pulling away Duck, so that way she can give him his birthday present. So here is where we get more backstory on Violet, that she has an old man or whatever that is to technically mean. I guess that's in terms of like, well, hey, she has somebody already, but like Duck is the guy on the side. Um, so yeah, there's probably never going to be a real commitment between the two of them. It's just like, well, hey, it's so convenient, and also we probably always probably go on and we probably find these road stories of these kind of loose women and so on and so forth, like road truck story. Yeah, like I'm sure there's always a number of these. Anyways, I'm getting very long-winded. I apologize. So as Duck and Violet get into the truck, and Violet is saying like, "Hey, like, if anything, kind of be outside here, and I'll tell you when to come in." So Spider Mike and Love Machine go into the diner, and so they meet up with Widow and they meet up with Melissa. At some point, uh, Love Machine is mentioning to Melissa, like, well, hey, like, it seems you may go on, you may need a ride, like, I'm willing to give you one. And it seems that Melissa is more interested in getting a Duck's truck than anyone else's. It seems that bizarrely she trusts him more than anyone else. So, because eventually Duck is talking to Melissa, and like, oh, you have car trouble? Oh, okay, well. Anyways, so here's where Spider Mike and Pigpen, they get on the radio as they find that Papa Bear is kind of making his way to eventually probably stop by this diner, or is just nearby. So the two of them are wanting to go on and pull a joke on the sheriff here, going on and talking about how goofy he walks, and and calling him a beaver and all these kind of goofy insults of things. So this guy is obviously going to want to go on and tear these guys' heads off. But weirdly, also, the sheriff is probably thinking that somehow Duck has been talking about these guys, even though it wasn't Duck. Uh, but anyways, so the sheriff goes in the diner, and Love Machine and Spider Mike are by the like counter table, and they're trying to like pretend that they weren't just on the radio. So Papa Bear is kind of looking all over the place. Is like, well, hey, like, where is Duck? So Duck is unwrapping his birthday present, and so since Duck is not there, this sheriff is still looking for a fight. So Papa Bear goes on and is to start talking to Love Machine and Pigpen, and starts squeezing them for money. Starts saying like, "Well, hey, I can arrest you for vagrancy. Oh, I can like, I can go on and I can do this and that. If you don't go on, you pay me more." And so as the further and further this escalates, we have Widow calling Duck and telling Duck, "Hey, man, like Papa Bear is here, and if anything, you need to get down here quick, because like this is gonna escalate fairly quickly." Duck really wants to unwrap his birthday present, but it's like, oh well, like I have to go on and I have to save the day. He has to be Superman. So so Duck needs to make his way to the diner, and once he gets in there, we have like Spider Mike that has like a ketchup bottle at some point, and we eventually just start this fight off. Uh, the breaking point is where Spider Mike is to try to avoid prison time because, like, hey man, I got a baby on the way, and Duck is like, well, yeah, like his woman is just about ready to pop, and Papa Bear's like, oh, do you know who the father is? And that's what starts it off. That's the first um, ketchup bottle slam, and we start to get people in the background that are starting to get involved in the fight that eventually will lead them to be tied to this convoy. I think characters like Puck, or the guy that's next to him, I think his name is like Louisiana something, is to be like his handler or something like that. I have no idea. At some point they bring it up in the film, but I don't have the retention at some point of all these names after a certain point, because it's really hard to exactly figure out what all their names are at some point because they're not used as often. Um, anyways, so right after they punch, or right after Spider Mike punches out this cop, it's like, well, yeah, we just blew freaking going to Arizona, and we just like we can might as well just kind of kiss our truck career goodbye. So next up, we have these two cops following up, being in the diner also. This cop meets up with Melissa. It's like, well, hey, where were you? And it's the same cop from before. Melissa's like, oh, yeah, well, my car broke down. It's like, ah, likely excuse. So, as soon as the cops find the sheriff down on the ground, it's like, hey, what happened here? Oh, hey, yeah, here's where the ketchup bottle happens. Here's where the first thing was the punch. This is to go on and be a ketchup bottle now. So here's where the fight really breaks out. Uh, Spider Mike gets thrown here. Duck gets punched, and we eventually have people getting thrown into these glass counters. We have this chef come out of the woodwork, and he's mentioning like, "Hey, put all this damage on their tab." Like, hey, like I can't work in these kind of conditions anymore. He's like, wait a minute, like I own this place. I can just kick all these people out. So so inevitably we see like Black Widow gets involved in this fight. Melissa goes on and knocks down one of the police officers, and so everybody who's eventually going to go on and be involved in this convoy is who have also been involved in this truck, like Puck and the Louisiana guy, who is also in this convoy, the random person that is eventually to be connected with Widow, because eventually Widow, she completely rolls over her truck, and she gets to just go with these two guys onto this convoy, and they just keep following her. So yeah, uh, so that's kind of what transpires throughout this movie. Uh, oh, his name is Pack, and another guy I think is White. I have no idea what I'm saying here, um, of who these characters actually are. So, moving on. So, after the truckers go on and they take all these cops, they cuff them all. Duck kind of chucks the cuffs to everybody. When Papa Bear comes to, he's like he's trying to get his cuffs from this stool, and it's funny. Like, he's going on and he's mocking everybody, and he is using his gun to like fire off the cuffs, and Violet just comes in, is like yoink, and just lifts the part of the seat of the stool for then uh Papa Bear to realize like, oh, like I could have just gone and just avoided this, the of just yeah, I could have just escaped so easily. So Duck comes out of this diner with just blood on his nose. At some point, Melissa will go on and need to go into the truck to just kind of fix his nose. So Love Machine goes on to destroy the windshield of this cop car. It's like, well, hey, if we're going to go on and if we're going to really damage these police vehicles, we need to do it the right way. We need to pull out all their wires so they can't drive. So they pull out all the wires and everybody starts getting in their truck. Duck gets into his truck with Melissa. Uh, Violet ends up telling Duck happy birthday, and then she walks away. Uh, at some point, it goes on to say, it's like, well, hey, how is it that you knew it was my birthday? I guess it's just a lucky guess. Either that or he just says it's his birthday uh, just so that way it could be funny. So this group of truckers just start to drive off here. And here, of course, is where Ernest Borgnine or Papa Bear, where he gets free. I know that technically Papa Bear isn't exactly this guy's name, but I'm just heavily leaning into that. I think it's like Lyra or Lyle or something, but I'm just kind of really just leaning into the whole Papa Bear thing because it's just easier for me to remember the guy's name. But anyways, so Papa Bear is to realize that his car does not work. So he's going on and finding everybody nearby and asking them to basically just take their car because he's the sheriff. He could just commandeer their car because he's going to chase after these guys. Funny enough, there's this couple that is smoking a drag or smoking a J, and they all of a sudden see this sheriff and they're like, oh, they shove all this in their mouth, and Papa Bear is like, hey, what do you have in your mouth? And like, nothing. Like, so he's like, oh no, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna steal your car, and then after I come back, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna come after you. So he takes their car. He takes their car and he wrecks it. He steals these people's car and he wrecks the car. Isn't that nice? So they're driving along here, and there I think is really at this point where there isn't much of things that I could kind of pull away from here to really uh like there is a moment where Duck goes on and asks Melissa uh what she was doing before this whole thing started. She was going to a wedding, and it's like, well, yeah, kind of take that wedding and kind of you're not going to go and catch a plane for a while. You're not going to go on and be able to do anything. Any of your plans that you thought you had, yeah, they're all scrapped. So at one point, this truck is kind of going on and passing. I think this old couple or these two old guys in an old fashioned vehicle. So here is where Widow rolls her car as they're making this really hard turn, and the guys all get out. The guys who are kind of behind Duck, uh, they go back for Widow and check on her. So they get her out of her car, and Widow's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? Like let's just get into another truck, and I'm gonna become your passenger now." Because like, hey, we still need to get out of here. There's no thought besides that. So Duck goes on and calls Widow and asks if she's okay. She mentions how she has a black eye, like she has like a scar over her eye. But if anything, like she'll just kind of be okay. So we have Papa Bear that goes on and catches up with Duck, and Duck starts to realize like, oh, like is that seriously Papa Bear? Is he in that car? So because this is semi truck against car here, the semi goes on and gets Papa Bear's truck off the road. Papa Bear goes flying into this sign, goes crashing through it, and then he goes crashing through this house. And as it seems that Papa Bear is to be able to walk out of this car, we have Duck that calls Papa Bear. It's like, hey, you okay? Do you need us to call anybody? And like, it's kind of nice that even Duck, like, even though they're kind of like they're at odds with one another, Duck is trying to make sure that this guy is okay. And so, like, that is kind of like that kind of tells you who these people are. But if anything, this is to just have Papa Bear that is even more furious with Duck at this point. That he wants to get him, and he's gonna do this until he gets his man. So so uh, Papa Bear goes on like I'm kind of lost for freaking words. I don't know why I can't get this out. At some points, I apologize. Papa Bear is to then call Bob Bookman, who it seems he hates truckers. That's the weird thing that he introduces himself with. Hey, yeah, I'm Bob Bookman, and I hate truckers. And Papa Bear just turns to him and is like, no, like okay, like you'll do. So I think this is where here that Papa Bear kind of ties himself with like the state police or just more police officers that he's not aware of. Maybe it's a different county or whatever part of the city or what have you. But it seems that they're all wearing the same uniforms, but like they don't know one another. Like precincts and all kinds of things could just be the case here. So Papa Bear gets into Bob's car and they drive off. So this time around, Duck is to want the convoy to go onto this dirt road, and I mean very dirt road. So much so that only the semis could be able to get through this dirt road. And it's actually like this scene here is actually so clever and actually really fun to watch. Uh, so Duck is like, yeah, we're gonna take the side road, And so now, as all these cop cars start chasing them, they just get overpowered by the road. There's some people that just get completely caught into the road. There's some cop cars that flip and roll over. There's like a lot of like widow is going on, and like she's uh reacting to things. She's talking about how mad she is, and kind of doing all these like reactions to a lot of stuff. Uh, but if any, but anything like the last cop car to be kind of still standing is to be none other than uh Papa Bears. So I like what they do here. So Love Machine and Spider Mike, they kind of play a little fast and loose and whatever with Papa Bear here. They try to basically swerve around so that way Papa Bear won't give in or won't get in. So that way Papa Bear will get kind of further up to try to stop them. And then they let him by. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll let him by. Yeah, we'll finally just let him go." And and weirdly enough, like Papa Bear buys in this hook, line, and sinker. Like, "Oh yeah, they finally learned. Oh yeah, they finally like I finally outsmarted them." No, like they know that you're going on, and they know that you're coming. So what they do is they start to sandwich Papa Bear's car in between the two trucks and start to crush. Now, I mean, crush the car. Like, I'm kind of curious how exactly they did this scene. I'm assuming stunt doubles and what have you was obvious there, but still, like, I'm just so fascinated by just stunt work and what have and what like obviously yeah stuntmen um but I'm just curious, like, was it like just like obviously it was one stuntman and then probably a dummy. Uh, but yeah, like there's sometimes where there's like no car driving, or there's no person driving the car. So I'm just kind of curious how exactly they did this. So because the car is kind of attached to the truck at some point, so I'm wondering if there was no person driving it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So at one point, the car ends up getting attached to Love Machine's truck, and then it gets kind of just pushed off. So now, Papa Bear is to then call uh this Chief Stacy Love from New Mexico and plead to him. It's like, well, hey, yeah, like I'm gonna need your assistance as well as also I'm gonna need you to bring me another car because like ours is destroyed now. And also, he makes a joke about a new pair of pants, which I found to be funny. So we're driving along here, and there's sometimes where Duck is to be like strangely like shirtless, or he needs a tank top for Melissa to get him. Like there's ever an exchanging of clothes going on here, and I just can't figure out why at some points in this film. Um, Maybe because it's the whole dirt road thing that made him dirty that he wanted to change the clothes. But I think it was really just to get this guy shirtless in this film more often than not, or him to wear this tank top a lot often more than anything else. Uh, they really do try to go on. They try to make this guy here. They make him really look cool, and it does come off that way. Um, like it kind of very much reminded me of like very like Mad Max-ish or whatever. Um, like we have the cool hand Luke, the guy that um is to look so cool and and be the right hero looking guy and what have you. And moving on. So here's where I feel this character known as this big nasty guy. Not big nasty guy. Like I think his name is Big Nasty. He goes on and wants to be part of the convoy with his other truckers, and we get like guys like Bald Eagle, Sneaky Snake, all these guys brought in, and they become at some point part of the convoy. They have kind of one-liners here and there. Uh, so yeah, so they all get attached. It's like, hey, more the merrier. Like, yeah, you guys can all go on and be a part of this. Yeah, here's where we're going. We get the bus with the Reverend Sloan, and we even have one point where Duck is like, "Hey, you a real Reverend?" kind of questioning him. So Melissa goes back to the back, and she's looking for a beer, and here's where Melissa starts talking about the whole hand gliding thing and how she had a relationship that didn't work out. And will come from time to time that Melissa will try to go into the back of the car because she's just kind of concerned about some of the kind of the crazy stunts they're doing here. So she goes back in the back, so she feels that if she goes in this area, she's more protected. But if anything, it's kind of the explosives are to be kind of next to her. So either way, things aren't going to go so well. So now we go on to have I think there's a like a border thing going on here, or there's a stopping gap where there's this police officer that is talking about these 50 trucks and they're all kind of following here. And uh, so here is where we have this federal agent that's in this helicopter with uh, Papa Bear. So this federal agent goes on to the radio. This agent Hamilton. Agent Hamilton starts talking to him like normal, and is to even call him by his actual name, which is I think Martin Penwald. And we even have Melissa's like, your name is Martin Penwald, and it's like, yeah. Why do you think everyone calls me Duck? Because that name sucks. So it's not my fault his name sucks. It's not my fault he sucks. Anyways, so it's that whole Michael Bolton thing. Why not change your name to something else like Mikey or Mike or whatever? It's like it's not my fault that he sucks. Anyways, uh, so the longer this federal agent Hamilton doesn't speak to them in their normal lingo, Papa Bear tells him, "Hey, like you're not doing it right." if anything, I should probably take over, because if anything, they'll listen to me. So, and if anything, they're also like questioning whether or not that the guy's using the radio right. So there is a roadblock that ends up being presented here because they're setting this up now. They're trying to get the guy to stop because hey, this roadblock is coming. You're under arrest. So even when Bear takes over and starts talking to Duck here, Duck eventually is to tell these guys, hey, you guys better not go on and have this roadblock. Because if anything on my truck, as you can tell on the side of it, there's a, B class explosives that is to be on my trailer. So if anything, a roadblock, I probably would not go on and have you do this because explosives. So after going on and doing the research, I'm like, oh yeah, like if anything on the side of his truck it says yeah, class B explosives. So they should obviously take that for what word it is because he could have emptied this at any point in time, but I guess they have to just take it for his word. So plus also maybe the explosion by the end of the movie may not have really been big enough, but regardless, it happens anyways. Plus also, shouldn't they have gone on and not try to put bullets in that truck because it is being explosives, but I guess at some point they just no longer cared. So after they find out that the truck has a trailer full of explosives, everybody tries to get the roadblock cleared, as well as also like the cops are going on and fanning away all the people that are to me nearby and tell them to get the heck out of here. Because yeah, like this truck could explode. So as the truck is making its way to this roadblock and there is a police vehicle that for some reason they can't get the keys of it, like they can't get it to move, like they're trying to push it out of the way. Duck's truck goes on and smashes the police car and continues on driving. So it's like, well, yeah, don't with this guy because, like, yeah, he has this truck and he's just gonna mow through you. So the officer that is from New Mexico that had just spoken to Papa Bear briefly before. He goes on and mentions like, well, hey, they're heading into my town now, so if anything, uh, let's figure out how to like get traffic to just kind of be adjusted to these guys coming through. So there's this one cop car, and there's this truck that has this like water on it, and it's kind of funny that this cop car is getting sprayed with this water. And the guys with the religious bus, they're all going on and they're singing the song. So as Duck's convoy is starting to gather up steam here to the point where now this town is to find their story just so gravitating, and they are to all go on and like marching bands are playing songs for them now, and like there's this guy on this go-kart that's like, hey, can I follow you guys? And it's all about more of the merrier, like, hey, go-kart, sure, why not, join our convoy. So we just all of a sudden from the street just see these random people. They're like, yeah, ooh, yeah. So, anyways, it's just getting really funny now. So here's where we have this reporter coming in, and he's driving alongside Duck's truck with this vehicle. So this guy mentions how he's a press representative. Why does he have to go on and have this huge elaborate title? It just, hey man, just say that you're from the press. So he says that he's a press representative of the governor, Haskins, of New Mexico. And so this press representative, uh, who is to be Chuck here, from memory, Chuck goes on to inevitably ask Duck, it's like, well, hey, is all this a protest? Like, what are you doing this for? And Duck doesn't have an answer. Duck doesn't want to go on and wants to do this interview. So Chuck just starts to go along and just starts to go through every truck and just starts asking them, like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you um, following this convoy? And everybody has a much different answer. Some answers are go on and leave Chuck finding these people to be crazy, and like some people are going on and talking about Vietnam, which of course is so long ago, but still like it makes sense for the story for the time period. And so on and on we go to where Melissa is turning to Duck. It's like, well, hey, maybe you should go on, maybe you should answer this guy's questions, maybe you should do this interview because you can get your story out there, but also, like, I'm sure there's some sweet coin for this whole story. Also, the press starts to go on and say to Melissa, hey, uh, if anything, like, you're taking photos of this whole thing, and how about we go on and how about we, like, make some money off your photos? And they say, it's like, oh, hey, how about like 500 or something for the photos? She's like, no, how about 2,500? And like ballpark me somewhere, pricing somewhere in there. Like, if anything, we'll probably get to the real dollars and cents probably later on at some point when they actually get into the more details of it. So Chuck makes his way back to Duck, and here's where Chuck goes on to tell Duck here. I don't know why we have to have rhyming names here. Chuck tells the press, hey, don't go on and don't have this on record. So Chuck mentions about the National Guard to Duck. And also, Chuck is to tell Duck that, hey, like, there's going to be a patch of land that he's going to let these guys all kind of just kind of have a rest stop. And, like, none of the cops will get involved. Like, they'll let them rest. But if anything, like, this whole thing is for them to stop so that way they can talk to this governor and see if they can go on and finally have this thing come to an end. Uh, so so much time is passing now. Day is now turning into night, and I think here at this point we find Spider Mike, because we this whole thing is that Spider Mike is to now, like, uh his wife is having a baby. If anything, um Spider Mike now is to find through the radio that his wife is having a child, and he needs to just kind of curve off of this road trip because his wife is having a baby. So everybody on the radio goes on and is like, hey, congratulations, having a baby. Hey, yeah, you're a dad now. Ooh, yeah. Like, all these random people go on and start chiming in. which is really nice. Like, it's great that everybody's going on and congratulating this guy. It's kind of like a Facebook post where somebody goes on and mentions, like, yeah, I'm having a baby, and like 30 people just come out of the woodwork somewhere. And I was like, hey, yeah, congratulations on that, which is great. But also, it's like, where were the 30 of you people before? But also, that's probably like a YouTube video in some ways, if you really think about it. Like, all of a sudden, you'd go on to find like the regular people in some of the videos, but then also you'd find like these huge random amounts of people that all come from somewhere, and then you're like, okay, like, how is that I'm still going on, and how is it I'm still finding these people? Um, at some points, it's like, how is it that I have a video that has amassed over 50,000 some odd people, unless it's just like every day somebody's just watching one video 1,000 times over. It's like, man, that's kind of crazy. But also, it's just like, why is it that that video is still building? But I'm grateful that it's still building because that's still has people eventually find the channel, and like, out of the extra number of 1,000 people that probably view, I'm sure there's probably one subscribe, or there's one um person that views it and then hates the video, and then maybe they comment about it how they don't like the video, which is fine. Because I could just ignore that. But anyways, I'm getting lost in the weeds here. I apologize. Uh, so we cut to the governor. So the governor is talking with Chuck and some other like government official, and they're talking about how this convoy thing is gaining so much steam, more so than their governmental election that they're going to have for the governor. Uh, the governor is hoping that he could take this thing and kind of push it into like the whole Senate thing, because like really he's trying to use this to run for office. I'm severely generic here, but I don't know exactly the whole, because it's not clear in the movie about the whole government thing what they're doing. Um, but they're trying to use this whole story to like have that carry this political figure. So let me pause here for a second. Okay. So as this movie, it seems, is going to transition to a rest stop, I took a second to, or a couple minutes to take a rest stop myself. Take a little bit of a breather to recollect myself. So Duck takes his group and goes into the location that they're supposed to stop at to speak to the governor, to at least hear him out. And they all also take the vehicle that's spraying water, and they get behind it, and they all just basically take what is the equivalent of a shower, because yeah, I guess these guys are just endlessly on the road, so they're just trying to clean themselves off here. So yeah, we just randomly see like a huge number of people. They're all getting like towels and all kinds of things. So, and we have certain members of the press that are getting involved and wanting to ask Duck questions, and some of the trucker guys are like, "Hey man, like leave him be." So now we cut to Papa Bear, who's to have made his way to this police station. We'd find Spider Mike, who is to have been beaten up in a prison cell, and he's willing to do anything that they want because he no longer wants to get beaten up anymore. And because these guys just beat him up. At one point, Duck was to have also mentioned, as Spider Mike was kind of making his way back home, Duck is like, well, yeah, like he's kind of going on into some really bad cities. Uh, so I'm just kind of worried about him. And then come to find out the worry was granted, or the worry was justified because of what happened to him. So Papa Bear turns to Spider Mike, and tells him it's like, well, yeah, like we're gonna use you for bait. Like if anything, if you're not exactly going to help us, then we're gonna use you for bait because we know that Duck is gonna want to save this guy because it makes the most sense. He feels guilty for why this guy is to be there. So, because we'll find out that this custodian guy is to find Spider Mike within this prison cell. So it's like, hey, I'll go in and I'll contact your people through the CB and I'll call for help. So here's where these reporters come in and they start asking Melissa about like prices about her photos and her story basically. And we have Duck that takes Melissa and is kind of poking at her to just be like, okay, uh like asking her, it's like, what is she here for? Like if the two of them are going to end up together is kind of what he's questioning. So, and it seems that they're going to end up together is what it seems with this question. It's like, yeah, like she's really there for him, and she's there for the right reasons, and they're just kind of trying to, in some ways, kind of wink wink nudge nudge, kind of confirm that now that they're going to end up together. So as the message from the custodian guy makes his way to all these random other radios, like from people that kind of have different accents, kind of different um, walks of life of trucking, kind of go on to pass this message along the longest, hardest way possible. So, Love Machine takes Duck to the governor, and he ends up doing this whole thing about this little thing about stealing cookies, which I thought was kind of funny. So the government, the governor comes in with this chopper, and they make their way to this tent. And the further that Duck talks to this governor, it seems that some of the trucker guys start to get involved in the whole tent thing. Um, just because, like, they're like, okay, like, what are they really saying in there? Plus, also, they don't really trust this governor guy to get things done. So, as more and more people start to make it into the tent, after the governor and Duck start talking, at one point there is word out that Spider Mike is in prison. And so when word is to be revealed about that, the governor starts talking about how there's sacrifices that need to be made. That the governor doesn't know exactly why Spider Mike is to be in prison, but if anything, like, you can't connect it to this. That the governor can't just go on and just undo what the law has already done, uh, just to uh, just because he fears about this whole convoy thing. So Duck is supposed to partner up with the governor, but he decides not to. Duck goes on to be like, "Hey man, I'm leaving. Like I'm just gonna get out of here, and I don't care what everyone else is doing. I'm gonna go and I'm going to leave." He doesn't explain what he's doing. He just says he's leaving. So the convoy truck of people follow him a little bit after the fact. Uh, and they find out that he's making his way to this prison to free his friend because he feels responsible for it, or he feels responsible that his friend is in prison. So, uh, Melissa is now with Love Machine, and Love Machine is just kind of half awake. You kind of tell by his kind of demeanor, where he's like not remembering Melissa's name, or kind of like the way he's talking is kind of more, um, kind of really trying to like figure things out of just stuff to exactly say here. Plus, also, I like acting is effing hard. I'm sure to probably memorize all your effing lines, and like I'm sure it's very difficult. I like I would have lucked out and had been in a play, but I had no lines to memorize. Like I was just an extra in the background, and I really didn't have anything to memorize, which I was like, okay, this is kind of boring. Um, because like I was just like, okay, I had to just like ad lib everything, and like I had stuff to technically say, but it was all just kind of like, again, it was kind of like background noise. Um, so it was like every once in a while I'd have like some little bits of dialogue here and there, but yeah, it wasn't real memorizing of things. I'd taken 2 courses of acting classes, and yeah, there's some stuff where like I really couldn't connect with the stories, or I couldn't connect with what I was saying. It just felt like I had to memorize, and just like it just felt like I had to memorize lines. It didn't feel like I was. It felt very weird. Uh, Going on and doing this whole story, like I figured out who these characters were, but it was also just like I'm just trying to memorize words off a piece of paper, and like I didn't feel that like it was nothing but like a very weird experience, because acting is just kind of weird. Just imagine if you had a camera in front of you and you're involved in a film and you're having to be this character, and you're trying to get everything right. Anyways, so hugely tangenting off, my apologies, but if anything, this movie's almost 2 hours anyways, and it's a long stretch of a film. And I really try to cut through a lot of this movie anyways. So following up, Love Machine, here's where he talks about how like the lonely long highways are getting uh to grind on the souls of the cowpoke, and basically saying at this point it's like it's getting so late in the night that they're all getting very tired. So Duck is now driven, literally and metaphorically, to free his friend. So as Duck stops and all these trucks are just stopping, not even a road, they're just stopping wherever. That is to be just next and next and next and next to him. Like we just have a line of all these people that are just to all stop their cars, even if it's in the grass. They're just like, we're stopping here, because this seems to be just the line that's been drawn. So Duck is kind of looking around, and we're kind of shaping up who's going to be teaming up with who, where is people going to be going where, and this is all to just be destruction here. It's going to be a sight to behold here. Just the stuff that they just destroy and blow up, and well, blow up. I wouldn't say there's not a lot of explosions going on here, but there's a lot of destruction going on here. All these random bits of like these garden stores and uh, these like farm or barn locations and this poultry store and like all these just buildings, uh like the farm equipment and all yeah, all these places they just completely destroy. So once Papa Bear knows that this is going on, he's scrambling to get to these guns to try and protect himself because he knows that Duck or these trucker guys are coming. So he's gonna try and defend himself. It's gonna be a little bit too late. He's not gonna be able to get to the shotguns. So Love Machine and Duck's trucks simultaneously make their way together to this police station and crash through it. As Love Machine, Melissa, and Duck make their way through this station, Love Machine and Melissa are looking for keys to free their friend, and Duck meets up with Papa Bear. And the dialogue exchange here between the two of them is so powerful here. I'm not going to go on and do it justice because, in my mind, I'm thinking about how I can go on and keep thrusting my way through this movie and wrap it up. Because that's all I think about. Or that's all I'm thinking about. Other than the real heavy weight of this dialogue here. Um, like, there's at some points where we have, like, Papa Bear that is enforcing that's like, hey, I represent the law. And Duck is saying like, well, hey, I piss on your law. Like, so Duck goes on and uh looks at Spider Mike here and sees that he's all beaten up. And so Duck and all of his friends sort of get back in their vehicle, their trucks. And Papa Bear tells Duck here, it's like, well, hey, uh, this ain't forgetting nothing. Like, if anything, this isn't over yet. And Duck turns to Papa Bear, it's like, well, it's over for me. Because Duck really, at this point, has one last thing left to do, and that's to cross that state line and get the heck out of here. Or, like, I think they've already crossed New Mexico. So at this point, it's just like, let's just keep running because that's all we have left to do. So Love Machine and Duck's truck back out as they also get Papa Bear, like the two random truckers grab Papa Bear and get him out of the station because otherwise, like, the station is going to just crumble upon this guy and crush him and kill him. And again, these people are still good people. So so Duck goes on and starts talking to all the truckers, and all of them start chiming in on their own. And here's the point here where Duck gets separated from the rest of the pack here. There's a point where there's this school bus that has all these kids start walking by, and there's also this ice cream truck that Love Machine's truck accidentally crashes into, and Love Machine is to be like in front of all these trucks, and they can't go anywhere. So also the police gets involved, and the ice cream guy is chucking his ice cream at the Love Machine's truck. Uh, Love Machine goes on and explains to Duck how it's like, yeah, we're falling a little behind. So Duck is like, all right, okay. So here's where Duck goes on to be met by this big, huge, lavish roadblock. It looks like it has a tank. There's all these guys with guns, and National Guard is finally involved. There's a chopper in the air. So at this point, Duck is realizing that this is the big showdown. Duck turns to Melissa and tells her to get out of the car or get out of the vehicle, the truck. And she's like, well, I'm staying. And he's like, I don't think you heard me. And so he kicks her out. He throws her stuff out of the truck. And so Melissa goes on to just race after the truck after he starts driving off. And we can kind of see slices and pieces of her continuing to run after him. So Duck goes on to continue because he's not going to stop to go through this roadblock. So as he starts driving, it gets to the point where everybody's like, okay, like, let's get guns ready. Like, hopefully this guy will stop that. And he doesn't. So bullets go flying. Duck swoops underneath his car and continues to just keep driving, even though he can't see, obviously. Love Machine is calling out to Duck. There's no answer because Duck is kind of busy right now. They keep shooting the entire truck toward inevitably the tanker explodes, and the front part of the semi goes flying off of the bridge that he is now on and goes into the water, and we're led to believe that Duck dies here. That right after this, there's a whole funeral for this character, and the governor is to, again, try to make even this guy's death something that he's going to push for the Senate for. And so they have this whole ceremony where they're going on to honor Duck's death, and there's like these limousines and all these other vehicles, and so the governor is to kind of let these guys be on this track and just kind of do this service. And we come to find as this track goes along with all these vehicles in it, Melissa makes her way on to the bus with the Reverend Sloan and the Jesus freaks or whatever they're called. That's what they're called in the thing in the IMDb. Look it up. It's weird, people. So the more that they hear the governor out, guys like Love Machine just get so upset because they realize that this governor is just trying to make Duck's death as a way for him to benefit off of it in him uh, trying to further his career. And Love Machine is just so upset because nothing is ever going to change, and there is going to be no true benefit to these truckers in the future. And that at this point now, like the Love Machine is going to just get into his truck and just drive off at this point because of how upset he is. So as the trucks start to drive off, Melissa again is back onto the bus, and they start this just trek. All of a sudden, it's to be revealed that Duck himself is to be at the very tail end of this bus, and he's to have this bandana over his eye and a hat, and he's disguised himself. And it's a reveal that he's still alive. Oh yeah, woo yeah, he lived. So Duck tells Melissa, it's like, well, hey, do you think a duck couldn't swim? Yeah. It was funny at some point in the movie where they go on and they ask, like, Duck, hey, what's your name for? How'd you get it? And Duck goes on and says, like, well, hey, yeah, like it rhymes with luck. Ha 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 ha. And then and somebody goes on with this whole like poetic speech about why his name came to be. But if anything, yeah, like all that is kind of just lost by me by the end of this film, as well as also to figure out where exactly that was in the movie, as I was trying to, as much as possible, just try to really just try to quickly cover this and get it all done. So further along, as they're all driving away, Duck at some point I think goes on the radio and starts chiming in, just starts talking, and they realize they've been had. It's like, oh yeah, that Duck guy, he wasn't dead all along. And by the end of this, we just have Papa Bear. Like at some point, like is this to go on and just be like Papa Bear with like makeup on, or like what's going on here? Because like when I see like Papa Bear's face by further and further later in this movie, like it just seems that like okay, does he have makeup on? Like is that just a weird schmutz? Like what's going on there? Uh, but by the end of this, the last thing we see is is really in my mind uh that Papa Bear is laughing and Melissa and Duck are on the bus just kind of kissing and hugging it out. And then we cut to just a number of just semis that are all just driving off here to the credits. So with that said, I think I'm going to go on and I'm going to get out of here because I don't think there's much else for me to say by the end of this. This one, this one was a little bit challenging, I feel, because of how like much I had to really try to condense this movie down for how long-winded it really is, and trying to just cut through a lot of the stuff and then have to recall some things. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't cover this part of it, and it might have been important for somebody for me to mention it, but it doesn't. Like this movie may probably go on and be a thing that no one is going to check out, which just sucks. Or it could be a thing that just explodes on the channel. I'm like, thank God I reviewed this. I never know with these things. That's what is to be kind of just the more heartbreaking of just being unsure why I do the things that I do, but I hope for the best of them. Uh, I like, especially for Convoy. Also, it's really hard to determine where view wise this is gonna end up. Um, Plus, also, there's no sequel to this, so it's just kind of like, well, this is going to be a one-off thing. Um, I'm hoping that I could probably use this movie to try to figure out other projects they can do in the future. I probably should have doubled up today and probably should have done a project on top of this, but I don't think I'm probably gonna have time. Um, it's probably gonna be too late for me to try to go on and do another project on top of this. Um, Plus, also, I'm just kind of worried. The later and later I tend to just kind of stay to just try to do things that'll kind of affect my sleep schedule because I have a certain appointment thing kind of coming up in the next few days that I have to kind of be up at a certain time for. So I'm kind of concerned about me going on and me kind of doing really late nights. So I hope for the best for this video. At this point, I hope the best for something to do well. Um, but evidently, I have no idea. I'll figure out something. Is what I always feel like I can go on. I can always say about this channel that it's been wild, just the ups and downs of it, but also the just way of which that I've been able to just continue to just keep attacking this and continue to find more and more interesting content still at this point is still just sign of just surprising to me and also probably to the viewer of like what the is this. uh I know that this is another one of these where it's like it's left field, it's like who asked for this, nobody. um but I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna try this and see what happens, and then I'll go on and do the projects that I had questioned people about. I had eventually put like also like, especially with me going on and not to have done this in the last few days. Uh, like I wanted to kind of go into this to kind of be a simple project that I can go on and kind of get back in the groove of things. Plus also this one specifically, there was like 10 other projects, 5 to 10 other projects that I was kind of throwing around doing, and it was the hesitation of like, well, what do I do? Like, which one should I do? Like, shouldn't I finally go on and should I do these this effing project? Like, I've been waiting too long for to do it, and yeah, it's just at a point now where it's just like I should know what to do, but it's just like it's all about like me just like forcing myself to just like let's do this let's commit to it. Because there's some days it's just so hard right now to just sit down and commit to something right now. um I don't know what it is with me. There's often times where I get a good flow of like, oh, I'm gonna bang out all these projects and like I plan them all out and I execute them all. And then there's some days where it's like, yeah, I like I really don't feel like I want to go on, and I really don't want to. Like, it takes me a very long time to commit to something. Maybe it's because of how poorly the channel could be going, or it could be just like some stupid comment that I got from some video, or it could be just some um, like some video that I mistakenly watched that somebody's boasting about how well they're doing, or um, how their channel is going, and then in turn, like I'm just like, man, like why can't I be that? Why can't I be that kind of person that is to like I have a video that like I can be proud of, and or well, even more than one. Tons of videos. But if anything, there were people that had watched all those. There were um, people that were always coming back to this. There are people that go on and watch these consistently, and like, and there's 505 at this point in recording people that have gone on to attach themselves to this thing, and I feel like I'm at some point also just kind of letting them down by my just consistent just effing off and just me not locking in. And so hopefully at this point we'll just kind of figure it out. We'll figure things out. Um, Also, it's just the kind of the just the daily stresses of like, well, hey, am I gonna go on and am I gonna be able to finally um, get these things? Am I gonna be able to get this stuff for the this video? Like, there's so much backstage crap to to what is to like think that like this one item is gonna help this channel, and then when I get it, does nothing. Like, does nothing. Um, like that really is to just be like, well, then what am I doing here? Um, like I bizarrely thought, like, man, when I'm gonna go on and when I'm gonna get like these shirts that all connect to all these videos, man, am I gonna go on and have like this huge difference that everyone will really latch onto all these videos and it'll really drastically change all the videos and it'll make a huge impact. And I did all that, and nothing has really changed. But for some reason, like people keep subscribing. There's views coming from somewhere. Probably really still big building one video, but like, uh, but yeah, I keep finding people from somewhere. I keep finding people that are willing to continue to find these videos and watch them. So I should get out of here because people like 2 hour video. It's the same length of the movie. I don't care. Like, if anything, if people were to watch the video, they would know the first chunk of the thing. That's all you really need to watch. Um, but they just don't watch the video long enough to know that. Um, but if anything, I'm gonna get out of here. I've way overstayed my welcome and I've put my foot in my mouth. More times than I can count in every one of these videos. Uh, yeah, like every one of these videos, I always have this kind of just like, what am I doing wrong? Kind of at the end of every video is like, what am I doing wrong? Probably doing this. Probably getting to this point of the video where I'm just uh, like, why do I have to kind of be like the state of the channel at every end of the video? Just like, well, hopefully things will work out. Like just pining away for something that'll never come. Uh, but if anything, like I need to finally let's make some better choices. I'm saying that for me, not uh, for people that are to go on and subscribe. I need to make better choices. I need to manage my time better, and I need to uh, definitely um, like I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna do some action films. I'm gonna try to do some superhero films. I'm gonna try to get back into projects that people overwhelmingly voted for. I should probably do Teen Wolf. probably should do uh, Deep Rising, The Abyss. Seems people are interested in that. Uh, Probably do a lot of projects that people were to go on and would rather hear reviews on. Um, it'll be at some point soon an interesting time for this channel, but I just have to I have to lock in, and I really have to um, really want to hope for the best for these future projects. So I don't know what that means, but if anything, goodbye everybody. Bye everybody.